So did anybody know that there's only 9 more shopping days till Christmas? Anybody know that? You count those. Some people count those days. They're like, hey, I got so many shopping days left till Christmas. So let's find out. How many of you would say that you are pretty much done with your Christmas shopping? Let me see your hand. Come on, you're done Christmas shopping. You do this stuff early. Way to go. The overachievers in the room. I cannot, unfortunately, raise my hand with you. My hand is not up, I don't think. Okay, how many of you would say that you're maybe halfway done or you're almost done with your Christmas shopping? Come on, let me see your hand. Let me see. Put your hand up high. Don't be ashamed. Be bold there. There you go. Okay, almost done. Then how many of you would be as bold to say, I have not even yet started my Christmas shopping? Come on, let me see those hands. Right on. Come on. Okay. We're just having some fun here, right? Now, when it comes to Christmas gifts, how do you find that best gift possible? Maybe you've been focused on a particular gift, or maybe there's somebody special where you're just trying to find that right gift for them, whatever the reason is this Christmas season. And sometimes when we try to find that best gift, or the greatest gift for somebody, sometimes we can try to find something unique that nobody else has. And I've seen people even do some custom things. Maybe they make something personally because it's special that way, or it's going to be one of a kind, or maybe you have something made, right, that's personalized, and nobody else is going to have that particular thing. Or maybe some people, they're like, I'm just going to put the maximum amount of money towards this gift, and I'm going to get something high dollar, and that's going to be the way that I show them this is the greatest gift ever or possible. And if that's you, be sure and put me on your Christmas list, all right? I'm just saying. So as we hunt for the greatest gift, I think about my father-in-law, because his idea of the greatest gift is more like a gag gift, okay? Like a goofy gift, a funny gift, a white elephant gift, if you know what I'm talking about, right? This is what he likes to do. And I think of some of the gifts he's given me and given us over the last number of years. Like he gave us, one of the gifts he gave me was a headlamp, okay? So, you put it's a band around your head. It has a light right there. And so you wear this or you don't wear it. But yeah, and it shines a light without you having to hold a flashlight. It was a joke, but it's funny that some members of our family actually used it at times for certain things. Anyway, just saying. And then another year, he gave me some tools as a gag gift, as a joke. Now you may be thinking, well, that's a great gift. What do you mean it's a gag gift? Well, it's a great gift if you know how to use the tools, okay? The reason it was a goofy gift for me, or a gag gift for me, is because I am the least handy person that you've ever met in your entire life. I don't know how to use tools, and that's why it was a joke. So the extra funny thing about this is my wife saw that he had given me these tools as a gag gift, and she got excited because she decided to take the tools and use it as a real gift for herself. Because she's the one who knows how to use the tools, and she teaches me how to use them as well. So that gag gift turned into a real gift. That was kind of nice. Okay, but probably one of the most memorable gifts that my father-in-law gave that was a gag gift, that was a funny gift, was a homemade back scratcher. Yeah. He took this piece of wood. It was this long piece of wood like this, just a kind of crude piece of wood. And then he took some nails, 4 or 5 nails. Not what you think, hang on. Okay, and he hammered the nails, not all the way in, but just partially in, where the nail head was still sticking out quite a bit. But he hammered the nails in one end of this back scratcher, or this piece of wood, and then he bent the nails over in just an awkward looking way, all right? And when I opened this thing, I'm like, what in the world is this? Okay, he had to have instructions to tell us what it was. This is a homemade back scratcher. Can I tell you, this was the most redneck back scratcher I'd ever seen in my entire life, okay? But can I also tell you something? That thing worked really well. Yes, I used it. I mean, it was an incredible back scratcher. And I wish I knew where it was. I think we kind of lost these things when we moved, but that was an amazing back scratcher. Now, everybody may have their own idea of what the greatest gift may look like, but did you know that the greatest gift has already been defined for us? It's been defined for you. It's been defined for me. We don't have to go searching for it. It's already been identified, even though we may not realize what it actually is. Okay, so what's the greatest gift? I'm going to tell you from the very beginning. The greatest gift is actually love. That's the greatest gift. And this is what we want to talk about for the next few minutes. The greatest gift is love. So this actually means something significant for you today. It does. And maybe you're wondering, where do we get this idea from? Okay, it's significant, but where do you get it from? How do we know that love is the greatest gift? And since love is the greatest gift, does this mean I don't have to purchase any more gifts for people in my life that I care about and that I love? I just give them love, right? It's free. If that is the case for you, I'm not recommending that you boycott gifts, because they may not be special people in your life after that if you're boycotting gifts, all right? So yes, we give them love, and we can give them a gift as well, okay? But this message is kicking off our Christmas series called The Greatest Gift. And we've been going through the book of 1 Corinthians in the Bible, so that's where this message is found. It's actually found in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And maybe you've heard this before if you've been to church or if you're a Bible reader, but 1 Corinthians 13 is actually called the love chapter. Yeah, in the Bible, it's called the love chapter for good reason. And we're going to start with the very last verse of this particular chapter because it reveals what the greatest gift actually is. And this verse says this. It says, 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is what? Love. Let's try it one more time. The greatest of these is? Love. There you go, it's love. You see, the chapter right before this, chapter 12, it's unpacking this idea of spiritual gifts, talking about all kinds of spiritual gifts. And just in case anybody might think that one of those spiritual gifts that the Apostle Paul was talking about in chapter 12 might be the greatest gift, he clarifies it right here, okay? Because he wrote this particular chapter to say, none of those other gifts I was talking about, none of those other gifts in chapter 12 are the greatest gift. Instead, he's telling us the greatest gift is love. Now let's go back to the very first part of chapter 13 to see what Paul has to say about this greatest gift and what it means for us during this Christmas season. All right, so 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 1 through 3, he says this: if I could speak all the languages of earth and of angels, but didn't love others, I would only be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I had the gift of prophecy, and if I understood all of God's secret plans and possessed all knowledge, and if I had such faith that I could move mountains, but didn't love others, I would be nothing. If I gave everything I have to the poor and even sacrificed my body, I could boast about it, but if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. So love is the basis for everything else. And there's been, tons of songs put to music about love. There's been movies written about love. In fact, all of the Christmas Hallmark movies that are out there, some of you are fans of the Christmas Hallmark movies. All those are basically about love, and they have the exact same storyline about love. If you watch one, you watch all of them. They're basically all the same, about some kind of love and how that all kind of unfolds, right? Now, here's some quotes about love I want to put up there and read to you. So Stephen, he said this. He said, love is that essential element in life that simultaneously makes everything important and everything else unimportant. James Olthius, he said, loving is not merely one thing among others that we're called to do. Love is not an additive or something that you add in. He said, loving is of the essence of being human, the connective tissue of reality, the oxygen of life. Love is like oxygen. I like that. Oxygen. I think about that. He said it's oxygen. Yeah, it is. Love is like oxygen. If you take it away, it's hard to breathe. This makes me think of this past summer, we went to Colorado, and a number of times we went way up in the mountains, 12,000 feet or 13,000 feet or whatever it was, however high we were, and we were above the tree lines. Trees couldn't even grow up there. It was so high. And when we were up there and we're climbing and we're exerting energy, right, we feel a lack of oxygen, and it's difficult. It's more difficult to breathe. As we're exerting energy, we're feeling like, oh, it's harder to breathe when there's no oxygen, when you're taking it away. Yeah, and the higher you go, there could be this point where you don't get hardly any oxygen at all, and it can cause your body to die. That would be the effects of extreme lack of oxygen, right? Well, same thing without love. Without oxygen and without love, there's something within us that dies. That's just the way it is. You see, love is actually that significant. And in this passage that we just read, the Apostle Paul, who wrote this, he's telling us that love is such an amazing gift that it needs to fuel what we say, it needs to fuel what we know, it needs to fuel what we do. So we're just going to look at these three things real quick here, okay? The first thing we're going to look at is how love needs to fuel what we say, our words, what we speak about. And in verse 1, just to kind of recap that to help us focus in on this particular item that he's talking about, he said, if I could speak all the languages of earth and of angels, but didn't love others, I would only be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. So if I could speak, it's what we speak. You see, the Corinthians, they really, the church that he's writing to here, they really valued words and language and speaking with eloquence and saying the right things, using the best possible words. They valued that. But you know what? Even if we say the absolute best things 100% of the time, our words are just perfect, and everything that we say every time we speak, did you know what? It still falls short without love. Without love, it falls short. You know, we could speak the best languages of heaven and of earth. Maybe you speak multiple languages. Maybe for whatever place that you're from and however many languages are represented here, we could speak the best possible languages of heaven, the best possible languages of earth. But you know what? If we don't have love, it's basically meaningless. It's meaningless. You see, the city of Corinth, where he was writing to and where this church was located, it was a place that had a lot of cults, a lot of religious cults there. And it was, they worshiped and they sacrificed to many different gods and many different idols. And part of their particular worship and ceremony involved noisy gongs or clanging cymbals. And that's why Paul writes that in there. You might be thinking, why did he write that in there? Because that culture would use those things in cult worship. And as part of that cult worship and idol worship experience, they would have a large piece of copper that was like a gong, and they would bang that thing, all right? They would bang it, they would beat it in the form of worship to their gods. And they also had this thing like a cymbal. It just kind of gave like one tone, just like a single tone kind of cymbal thing. It couldn't really produce any melody, okay? It couldn't produce any wonderful music, but it just kind of had this crash element to it, all right? So how many of you appreciate our amazing band that we had today? How many of you appreciate that? They were incredible, right? Our band is amazing. And so they produce wonderful melody. We love the music that they have. But this particular cymbal and this gong that they had, it wouldn't produce any melody, no beautiful music like that, okay? Now, I don't have a gong, I don't have a cymbal, but I do have an old school trash can lid. How many of you remember when trash cans were made out of tin like this? How many of you remember these old school trash cans? Come on, put your hand up high. If you can identify with this, you know what I'm talking about. How many of you are like, I have no idea what you're holding up there in your hand right now? Come on, put your hand up. How many of you know? You know? If you need to know, just think about Oscar the Grouch. He lived in one of these, all right? So he lived in one of these, yes, trash cans used to be made out of this. You'd put your trash in, you put it out by the road back in the day. So I don't have one of these noisy gongs or a clanging cymbal, but I do have, okay, one of these garbage cans. These old school garbage can lids. And the similarity between like these noisy gongs that Paul is talking about in the city of Corinth and this like old school trash can lid is that when you beat it, it's annoying. How many of you would agree this is annoying? Yeah, it's super annoying when you beat it. And that's kind of like his point. You beat these things, super annoying, kind of like a middle school band concert. Anybody ever been to a middle school band concert? You know what I'm talking about, right? It's kind of the way it is. So when they would beat these instruments, it was like this heavy, monotone noise, didn't make any nice music. Maybe it just kind of kept droning on and on like that neighbor's dog that keeps barking and won't stop. And you're like, I'm so annoyed by that thing. I wish it would just stop. Kind of something like that. Well, this is an example of what it's like to use words when there's no love behind it. It's annoying. It just drones on. And guess what? It's actually destructive to our ears. It's destructive to our emotions. When we use words without love. So I want you to think about this concept in practical terms. Because we're talking about our words, how we speak, right? So think about this in practical terms, how we talk to other people at work. Think about this and how we speak to people that maybe we're in charge of, that we oversee, or that we need to give instructions to. Think about this in terms of how we speak to our family, how we speak to our kids, how we speak to our parents, how we speak to our siblings. Think about this in how we talk to our server at our restaurant. I mean, you can apply this in any way you'll want to in your life. You see, the truth is, we can speak the truth. We can say the truth to somebody, because some people are like, I just tell it like it is. I just speak the truth. It's just the truth. I hear people say this all the time. I tell it like it is. Okay? I speak the truth. Guess what? You can speak the truth. But if there is no love behind your truth is like a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. It does more damage than good. And our culture needs to realize this, because people, I just speak the truth. Yeah, and there's no love behind it. And it's a noisy gong, and it's a clanging cymbal that does more damage than good. Guess what? We can even speak the facts about a situation. Well, I'm just telling the facts. This is just the way it is. But guess what? If there's no love behind it, then it's a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. It does more damage than good. Or we can tell people like the guidelines or the boundaries or the rules of engagement or what we're supposed to go by in this particular scenario and situation. But if there's no love behind it, it's like a noisy gong or a clashing cymbal. And it does more damage than good. Why? Because love actually fills what is said with necessary meaning and substance. That's what love does. It fills what is said with the necessary meaning, with the necessary substance. You see, love is the harmony. Love is the melody, like we heard up here with our amazing band playing Christmas songs and worship music today. That's what love is. But without love, is emptiness and destruction. Okay? So, because love is the greatest gift, it needs to fuel what we say so that we're not the noisy gong or the clanging cymbal. The second thing love needs to fuel is what we know. Not only what we say, but it also needs to fuel what we know. In verse 2, Paul said, if I had the gift of prophecy and I understood, if I knew all of God's secret plans and possessed all knowledge, and if I had such faith that I could move mountains but didn't love others, I would be nothing. That's pretty strong language, isn't it? I mean, we could know special things that nobody else knows through special spiritual gifts. We could have all the intellectual knowledge in the world. Okay? We could have the best education, the best training. We could possess supernatural faith and knowledge that would produce miracles. We could have all that stuff. But if we don't have love, it's all meaningless. It's meaningless. Yeah, I'm sure we could probably all think of an incredibly intelligent person. Maybe you met somewhere along the way in your life, or maybe somebody who's brilliant, they have a lot of knowledge, maybe they're even like genius capacity. We look at them, we're like, dude, they're genius, like they're so smart, they got all this stuff together, but maybe they lack love, and maybe they really don't have kindness, they don't really have a lot of care that they show, they're really not humble, they're really not gentle in the way they approach things in life. Well, chances are that we're probably not impressed with that person. Even though they know everything, or seems like they know everything, well, why are we not impressed with that person? Because they don't show love. Because they don't have love. You see, knowledge without love is nothing. Paul, the author of this text, he might even consider intelligence without love to be ignorance. Because he was pretty strong about this. Even if we're right, other people don't want to hear what we say without love. Love is the key. Paul basically tells us that when a person leads with knowledge and lags with love, it equates to emptiness. It's basically empty. Totally empty. Totally hollow. I remember when I attended Central Bible College in 1991 through 1995, I know I'm old. You're thinking, I attended college back in the 1900s. I get that. It's a long time ago. But the school that I attended was, one of the top theological schools that I could attend for getting the type of training and ministry that I was looking for. And I'm really grateful for the quality education that I received there. It was fantastic. There were brilliant professors all over that campus. They probably forgot more than I could actually ever know. They had brilliant minds. I learned a lot from them, and it was wonderful. But you might be surprised to hear that the person on campus who made the biggest difference in my life, I don't know that they ever taught a theology class. I don't know that they ever taught a class about doctrine. I don't think they ever did. In fact, they weren't known for their intellectual capacity. They weren't known for knowing everything. In fact, they were part of the student life administrative staff. And that person that made the most difference in my life, they did that because they first led with love and not knowledge. They led with love and not what they knew. And it was amazing because they invested in my life, they cared about me, and they took interest in me, and they challenged me in different ways. And because they led with love instead of knowledge, instead of what they knew, I actually learned a lot from them. You know why? Because I wanted to know what they knew. Because I knew they loved me. So I extracted what they did know because love came first. Then I wanted the rest of the package too. All because I knew they cared about me and because they loved me. They led with love, not with knowledge. If you want to have influence with people who are closest to you in your life, if you want to have influence with people who aren't close to you, but you want to gain influence with them, guess what? Lead with love, not knowledge. Sometimes we got it backwards. We're thinking, well, just tell them how much I know. That's really good. People need to, once they see how much I know, then they'll really follow. No. Once they see how much you love them, then they'll follow you. Once they see how much they love you, then they'll listen to you. As I was preparing this message, I actually sensed the Holy Spirit laid something on my heart. I feel like there's somebody here today, and you've been struggling to get more influence with maybe a son, a daughter, somebody close to you in your life, or maybe it's with somebody at work that you can't seem to get a breakthrough with. And I sense that there's somebody here, you're in that particular situation, and I sense God saying this. I sense God saying, stop leading with what you know in that particular relationship and start leading with love, and there's going to be a major breakthrough. He's saying, stop leading with what you know and start leading with love and watch the transformation that's going to take place in that relationship because of love. So if that's you here today, take that. Take that, absorb that, and say, okay, God, that's me. I'm going to make this change in this particular relationship, and I'm going to lead with love, and I'm going to watch what you do. Because God's going to do something. Hey, we've heard it before, but it's true. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It's a phrase, but it's a fact. So because love is the greatest gift, it needs to fuel what we say. It needs to fuel what we know. And finally, final thing, it needs to fuel what we do. So in verse 3, Paul said, hey, if I gave everything I have to the poor, even sacrificed my body, I could boast about it. But if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. So what's he saying here? He's saying that love needs to fuel what we do. Our actions should come from a place of love. And he uses some examples to talk about this concept. So if there was somebody that did something as extreme as sacrificing their own life for somebody else, or maybe they died as a martyr, I can't think of another action that would be as powerful as that particular statement. But what if the motive of that person who laid down their life, who gave their life, was more selfish? They thought, well, by doing this, I'll be recognized. My name could get out there, whether I die or not. Maybe it was more self-serving instead of love. Well, Paul says that amazing act that seems heroic would actually be hollow without love. It's not heroic without love. It's hollow. Or what if somebody was willing to give one of their own organs at the risk of death? They knew if I give this organ, it could help this person to live, but I could end up dying. But what if their motive on the inside, it seems heroic on the outside, but what if they were doing it for selfish reasons, whatever those selfish reasons were, instead of love for that person? Well, Paul says, what seems heroic would actually be hollow without love. Can you see that? It would be hollow. Or what about the example of giving all of your resources to a worthy cause? Like Global Impact, our missions efforts here and all around the world. I mean, we've done some amazing things through Global Impact. We've helped rescue vulnerable girls from human trafficking through our partner venture. That's been incredible. We give to Dream Center Des Moines right here to help make a difference in our city. We give to Kilgoris Bible School to help build that campus, to invest in the next generation of ministers. We participate with disaster relief around the world through Convoy of Hope. And these things are absolutely worthy of our investment. It's amazing the difference we're making because of that. But what if we did all those things without the motive of love? Yes, those resources would make a difference, no doubt, absolutely. But all those efforts without love would be hollow, right? It'd be hollow. Because let me tell you, the reason we do these things, what fuels Global Impact is love. Love for the one who's disconnected from God. That's what fuels the whole thing. You see, without that, it's hollow. And that hollowness would reveal there's something broken on the inside of us. Something broken that needs repaired. Something broken that needs fixed. We would be missing out on the greatest gift of all, which is love. That's the meaning. That's why we do what we do. Love is what fuels our actions. And love is what fueled the actions of God to give us the greatest gift of all time. What was that? It was his gift of love through Jesus, who was born on Christmas Day. That's why we're here. That's why we're celebrating what we're celebrating. That's why we're talking about what we're talking about. That's why we're having this event that we're having right now. You see, God gave the gift of Jesus out of love so that we could experience the greatest love. And there's no other way to experience that except through the person of Jesus.